A riveting day of announcements here. We have the Total War Rome 2 Desert Kingdoms announcement trailer we're going to watch through here. Today, guys, I want to kind of go over that announcement trailer, kind of take a look at some of the races. We're going to get 4 factions in this DLC for Rome 2 Total War, and we'll go over what each one of those factions are and some of the historical significance of them, as well as what their unit breakdown, some of the bonuses of those factions are going to be. But let's just jump right in real quick here to the Desert Kingdoms announced trailer. Press this little play button, and we'll let this roll throughout everything too as we kind of talk about the game and everything. Oh. So plenty of goodies to come here with the new trailer from from Creative Assembly. Just let that kind of play through as I kind of keep it muted here. But what I want to talk about now are the 3 or 4 factions that we got to see in this trailer. I mean, some pretty interesting stuff here. We've seen with some of the more recent DLCs coming out for Total War Warhammer 2, or I'm sorry, Total War Rome 2, wrong game. That they're trying to focus more on the eastern portion of the empire and less on the western portion. I mean, a lot of that was really done in the majority of the standard campaign and some of the more recent releases like Caesar into Gaul and stuff like that. So now we're kind of expanding out eastern and even out southern. I mean, more into the portions of Egypt and the such. So one of the factions that we talk about here, I'll kind of pop back into it so I can make it all yeah. Oh, the Kingdom of Kush. Now, this is a pretty interesting one. It's a very powerful region in the actual ancient times in the real world. I almost said the lore because I'm not doing Total War Warhammer right now. But the Kingdom of Kush was basically the founding of Nubia in a lot of ways. You have this very powerful kingdom that kind of pops up in the center of Egypt and downward, kind of like the base of Persia into what is again eventually Kush. And you have a nation that is extremely strong. I mean, they kind of come about around the 3rd century BC, and they last for a long time after that. I mean, even into I want to say it's something like like the 4th or 5th century, like BCE, or I'm sorry, CE. Like they are really long-lasting actual empire in themselves. And the Romans actually decided these guys are way too powerful for us. We can't go and just go hog wild on them. We're going to have to. Ooh, what's this going on? This is fancy. We'll just kind of maintain a working relationship with them. And so Kush actually is this a very important ally to Rome in a lot of ways, but also they have this, they conquest Egypt. There's all this amazing backstory for Kush in and of itself, and they're going to have an affinity from some of the key features here. They're going to have an affinity with Egyptian and Hellenistic culture because the Kingdom of Kush actually is a segue in that point in history when you've got this Egyptian and Hellenistic culture segue. They have kind of an affinity for both because their kingdom kind of inhabits both. They have a higher probability of female characters in politics, as we saw from just the splash screen at the end and from the little teaser of Kush here. We saw them using some female warriors. They're a trading kingdom, as we kind of talked about. Ivory, exotic hides, iron, and gold. And Kush is kind of put on the map because of its gold trade. Also have a fine pottery, But some of their faction traits are disciplined workforce. So bonus income from slaves, reduction in slave decline, reduced republic order, not republic order, and penalty from slaves. Also, land of the bow, cheaper and better archer units. So that is our Kingdom of Kush here. Our kind of Antiquity Wakanda coming out. I don't know, you know? If you didn't see Black Panther, go see it. It was pretty damn fun. But then we also have the Nabateans, and this one's going to be pretty interesting here because it'll play very heavily into where Kush is. Kush is, like we've talked about, on the actual main continent of Africa itself, whereas the Nabateans themselves have a little bit different of an actual placement. They're kind of more on Arabia Petrae, so kind of south, where Petra is kind of where they call home. That's their I guess their original capital, and a lot of I guess it was called Rockmu back in the time, but a lot of the Nabatean culture is very much like the last bastion before the Eastern. Romans didn't think too kindly of anything east of the of like pretty much modern day Saudi Arabia. So everything east of that for them was like, oh, this is a land of savages and crazy idiots. It's just India and China, man. Why don't you calm down? So Nabatea was essentially this kind of like last bastion before moving out that direction, and they kind of have a very, very strong relationship with Rome, and because of that, they actually get a key feature bonus in here: friend of Rome, diplomatic bonus with Roman factions and allies. Roman tactics. Some native units may use Roman army formations and abilities. So they're very important in that they do have a lot of direct Roman influence. They do have a lot of direct Roman use in their both navy and in their military. So they obviously have access to some other features here. So Hellenic influence, may recruit Hellenic themed units for battle. Silk Road traders, bonus to trade and diplomacy, and skilled masons. It even says on the Steam page, but Nabatea was the very first nation to really use concrete in a lot of its buildings. They're very famous for their building ability. Start that again. Yes. But they have stonecutters, so faster, cheaper construction of main settlement chain buildings, and incense traders, bonus income from incense trade. But then we have our third to last kingdom here, the Sabaeans Sabha, as it were. And these guys are on that Arabian Peninsula at the very south. So all Kush, Saba, and the Nabatea are all smack dab in. If you're looking at Kush, they kind of run in a diagonal line up towards Nabatea, which is in Petra. So basically, the Egyptus, where all of Kush is going to be, and then Petra and Arabia Petrae, where Trajan kind of comes through and like smashes through Petra and says, no, Nabateans, you are Romans. And in between that, you've got Saba, and Saba are basically these reformed nomads, which now have their own civilization, kind of like cataphract style. Camel warriors. They're known for being a very formidable fighting force. The Romans couldn't conquer them when they first approached them, or they first encountered them in the first century of the Common Era. So you've got this very interesting fighting force in that it's more of a heavy skirmisher style. They're not outright like, okay, hey, we just have skirmish camel archers, we just have skirmish chariots. No, they have actually a very heavy fighting force, and their history is pretty rich. It plays a lot of stuff into ancient Hebrew, and a lot of stuff into, like, it's the biblical land of Sheba. So there's a lot going on here with the Sabaeans themselves. But moving away from pretty much everything, you have the last really, I guess you could say, faction, the Masaeyli, right there we go, right there. They're based out of Numidia. Now, Numidia is just south of Carthage and southwest of Italy, or Rome, and to the west of Egypt. So you have these other three factions on the eastern portion of the Egyptian Empire, and smack dab on, or it's like Ptolemaic Egypt, really, and smack dab where a lot of the successor kingdoms are from the Seleucid Empire. Then you look at Numidia, which is whole different portion of the map. You've got really close to the Iberian Peninsula. You're at the northern portion of Africa here, and the Masaeyli were a Berber tribe, and they're one of the two Berber tribes that aligned up and created Numidia under the king Masaeyli. And you'll see that again in the Steam page if you take a look there. It talks about that. It's right after the Second Punic War. So you've got 4 pretty diverse factions with some pretty interesting influence. The Nabateans almost feel like, oh man, it's totally escaping me right now. But it's one of the Seleucid successor kingdoms that's like far to the east, closest to India. They became like a main thoroughway between India and the rest of the Roman Empire. God, the name's just completely falling out of my mouth right now. But basically, you've got something similar to them in the Nabateans, in this faction that's going to have Hellenistic and it's going to have Roman influence in it. So you're probably going to see some phalanxes. You're probably going to see some legionnaires. Then you've got the Sabaeans, which are going to have probably some heavy cav options with some more lighter infantry style forces. And then Nubia, which I'm really excited for. Nubia sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. You're definitely going to get a lot more archers, but you're probably going to get a lot less heavy infantry in the way of armor, and probably more or a higher actual attack coming out of them. So I'm excited to see how the Kingdom of Kush plays out. And Numidia in and of itself, you're probably going to see a lot of Carthaginian influence, a lot of Roman influence as well. So very excited to see how these play out. I'll be honest with you guys. It's rare that I'm excited about anything other than Total War Warhammer 2 right now. Also, if it's not Three Kingdoms, I mean, that's going to be damn awesome. So I'll probably give this a go, see how it is, and check it out. I mean, Kingdom of Kush is really, really, really interesting to me, and kind of see what we've got there. But I'm not overly amped on this. I was hoping to get like a little FLC teaser for some of the Total War Warhammer 2 coming out. For those of you that got a chance to see it, I even did my Dragon Mage video, so I was like, maybe we'll hear about this today. Nay, I was denied. But nonetheless, I am still very excited to just kind of see where this goes. Milk and Cookies Total War, Indie Pride did a really good video on this as well. And he was talking about how a lot of these factions are already in the game via mods. And they're saying, you know, hey, why pay $10 to get 4 factions that are already kind of modded into the game? I'm kind of an individual that plays only the vanilla version of games. So for someone like me that doesn't take advantage of mods, this is pretty cool. If you've already played through them, I could see how this would be kind of a toss-up in the air for you. But go ahead and leave a comment, guys. Let me know what you're thinking about this DLC. Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? I'd love to just kind of compile some of your feedback on this and kind of get a good idea of what you guys as my community really care about this DLC, and if you want to see some more content on it or what have you. But thanks for watching here today, guys. Have a good one and take care.